Naija Academy Part 1, 2. Powers, Wahala, and Survival. The sun blazed over Abuja's dusty outskirts as the buses carrying the new recruits to Super Naija Academy, WASNA, rattled to a stop outside a faded iron gate. Peeling paint spelled out SNA on a signboard, flanked by two tired-looking palm trees swaying in the dry breeze. Chinedu Okeke clutched his small bag of roasted yam, his flames flickering nervously in his palm, as he stepped off the bus from Enugu, squinting against the glare. Amaka Eze hopped down next, her sneakers kicking up dust, grinning as she stretched her legs. "Finally, I fit run without scatter anything," she quipped, earning a chuckle from the other cadets. Emeka Nwosu adjusted his worn singlet, his muscles aching from the long ride from Oshodi, but his eyes burned with determination. Fatima Abdullahi descended quietly, her hijab neatly tucked and her notebook pressed against her chest, taking in the cracked walls of the academy with a calculating gaze. Segun Adebayo slouched off last, his scowl deepening as he muttered under his breath, "Whittin dem dey expect from me sef?" The gates creaked open, and a towering figure emerged. Retired Major General Oga Drill, real name Baba Oladamji, a man whose presence demanded silence. His crisply ironed military uniform stretched across broad shoulders, a jagged scar slicing across his left cheek, a memento from his days fighting insurgents in the northeast. His voice boomed like a talking drum, cutting through the cadets' chatter. "Una think say? Because Una get powers? Una don't arrive? Oh yeah, drop your bags and carry 50 laps around this field now." The cadets froze, then scrambled to obey, their bags hitting the ground with muffled thuds. Chinedu's flames flickered out in panic. Amaka smirked as if she'd already won. Emeka gritted his teeth. Fatima adjusted her glasses with a resigned sigh, and Segun's frown deepened as he muttered, "Which kind wahala be this again?" The training field was a relentless expanse of red earth baked hard by the sun, ringed by a low fence, and dotted with faded obstacle courses. Wooden beams, tire stacks, and ropes dangling like forgotten laundry. The cadets took off, their footsteps kicking up dust clouds that shimmered in the heat. Amaka was a blur, zooming past everyone in seconds, her laughter echoing. "Una too slow a beg," she taunted, circling back to Lap Chinedu, who was struggling to keep his flames from singeing his own shirt. "No, dey distract me nah," he shouted, but couldn't help grinning. She was fast, too fast, and her energy was infectious. Emeka pounded the ground steadily, his skinny frame glistening with sweat, ignoring the burn in his legs. He'd trained harder than this in Oshodi, lifting cement blocks till his arms screamed. 50 laps was nothing compared to proving he belonged. Fatima paced herself, her hijab fluttering as she calculated the most efficient stride to conserve energy. She wasn't here to win races, but to outlast them. Segun lagged behind, his steps heavy with resentment, muttering, "Why I no get speed like that girl Sef?" as he watched Amaka lap him for the third time. Oga Drill stood at the field's center, arms crossed, his scar catching the sunlight, as he barked orders. "Move faster! Una day jog like say una day go wedding!" His voice was a whip cracking through the haze, pushing the cadets harder. Chinedu stumbled on lap 20, his flames flaring briefly as he caught himself, earning a shout from Oga Drill. "No day burn my field, fire boy!" The other cadets laughed, and Chinedu flushed, but he kept going, his small flames dancing in his palms like a nervous heartbeat. Amaka finished her laps in record time, collapsing dramatically on the grass. "Na me be champion o!" while the others caught up, panting and drenched. Emeka and Fatima crossed the line together, steady and unshaken, while Segun lagged at the back, his face a storm cloud as he glared at the others' camaraderie. After the laps, Oga Drill lined them up, his eyes scanning each cadet like a hawk sizing up prey. "Some of Una get powers, some no get," he said, his voice low but piercing. "But power no mean nothing if Una no fit use 'em well, and Una way no get power." His gaze landed on Emeka, Fatima, and Segun. "Una go work double." Turning to his aide, a wiry man with a clipboard, he barked, "Bring the gear!" The aide returned with a crate of tech-enhanced equipment, boots that glowed faintly with energy circuits and gloves that hummed with kinetic amplifiers. Oga Drill handed a pair of boots to Amaka, who stared at them in awe, their sleek black design a stark contrast to his dusty sandals. "These ones go help you run faster small," Oga Drill said gruffly. "No be magic, not training." He gave a pair of gloves to Fatima, nodding at her notebook. "These go make your punches carry weight, brain girl. Use 'em well." Segun got nothing, his lackluster effort during the laps earning him a stern look. "Prove say you deserve 'em first." The cadets spent the rest of the day in drills, crawling under barbed wire. Chinedu accidentally singed a rope, earning another shout. Climbing wooden walls. Amaka scaled hers in seconds, then helped a struggling Fatima. And hauling sandbags. Emeka lifted 2 at once, his new boots giving him just enough speed to keep up. By dusk, they were sprawled in the S&A dorm, a cavernous room with creaking bunks, faded walls painted with motivational slogans. Strength through unity, and mosquitoes buzzing despite the torn nets. Chinedu unpacked his roasted yam, sharing it with Amaka as he summoned tiny flames to roast puff-puff he'd smuggled in. "You day enjoy this, oh," Amaka teased, snatching a piece, her speed making her hand a blur. Emeka grinned, polishing his new boots with a rag, while Fatima scribbled strategies in her notebook by kerosene lamp, already planning how to use her gloves in combat. Segun sat alone on his bunk, staring at the others, his heart twisting with envy. "Why don't they laugh together like say I know they hear?" The first week passed in a blur of sweat and shouting, Oga Drill pushing them relentlessly. Morning runs, afternoon drills, evening lectures on Nigerian history and military tactics. Chinedu learned to control his flames better, creating small barriers without burning anything, mostly. Amaka mastered agility courses, her speed making her untouchable. Emeka's grit earned him quiet respect from Oga Drill, his tech boots helping him match the powered cadet's pace. Fatima's strategies shone in team exercises. She directed her group through a maze blindfolded, her calculations flawless. Segun lagged, his resentment growing. "Why I no get flame or speed?" But he kept pace just enough to avoid Oga Drill's wrath. On the 7th day, Oga Drill gathered them in the S&A hall, a concrete room with a cracked ceiling fan spinning lazily. Maps of Nigeria lined the walls, marked with red pins for trouble spots. Borno, Kaduna, Delta. "Today, Unago do field training," he announced, his scar gleaming under the fluorescent light. "Rescue mission for Sambisa Forest. Simulated but he go feel real." The cadets murmured excitedly as they boarded a rickety bus painted with "God Pass Them." The journey to Borno, a 6-hour ordeal of bumpy roads, roadside suya stops, and soldiers at checkpoints demanding small thing for passage. Sambisa Forest loomed at dawn, its tangled trees and eerie silence a stark contrast to Abuja's dust. The mission: rescue wooden dummies labeled hostages from a mock bandit camp, logs tied with ropes, hidden in the underbrush. The cadets split into teams, Chinedu leading one with Amaka, Emeka, Fatima, and Segun. They moved cautiously through the forest, palm fronds brushing their faces, the air thick with the musk of damp earth. Chinedu created a fiery path through tall grass, his flames glowing softly. "Follow me quick." Amaka scouted ahead, her speed kicking up dust as she located the dummies. "Over there, near that big tree." Emeka hauled a dummy onto his shoulder, his tech boots glowing as he matched Amaka's pace. Fatima directed from the rear, her compass steady. "Turn left, avoid the swamp." Segun trailed behind, his steps sluggish, muttering, "Why I no get power to shine like dem." Just as they neared the extraction point, a clearing marked by orange flags, shouts erupted from the trees. Real bandits, not part of the simulation, emerged from the shadows, their voices harsh as they demanded the cadets drop everything. Panic swept through the team. Chinedu's flames flared brighter, creating a fiery barrier. "Stay back!" he shouted, his voice cracking with fear. Amaka dashed to a struggling cadet tangled in vines, freeing them in a blur. Move! Move! Emeka tackled a charging figure, his tech gloves amplifying his punch, sending the man sprawling into the bush. Fatima grabbed her team, leading them to a narrow path. This way, quick! Segun froze behind a tree, his heart pounding. Why I no fit do anything? Watching his classmates fight to survive. The chaos lasted minutes, but felt like hours. Oga Drill and his aides, stationed nearby, intervened with warning shots into the air, driving the bandits off. But not before tragedy struck. 3 cadets from another team didn't make it, caught in traps meant for animals, their cries echoing through the forest before silence fell. The survivors stumbled back to the bus, faces pale, uniforms torn. Chinedu clutched a dummy's rope, guilt gnawing. What if his flames had drawn the bandits? Amaka bandaged a grazed arm, her usual grin gone. This no be play oh. Emeka sat silently, fists clenched. He'd saved one, but not all. Fatima revised her strategies in her mind. What could she have done better? Segun stared out the window, bitterness deepening. If I get power, maybe I for help. Back at SNA, Oga Drill debriefed them in the hall, his tone somber for the first time. This not real life, not game, he said, pointing to the map of Borno. Una go face worse. Learn from today. The cadets shuffled to their dorms, the weight of loss heavy on their shoulders. Chinedu sat on his bunk, staring at his hands. No flames tonight, just trembling fingers. Amaka trained harder in the yard, punching a bag till her knuckles bled. Emeka lifted weights under the stars, vowing to be stronger. Fatima wrote furiously in her notebook, planning new formations. Segun lay on his bunk, staring at the ceiling, his heart a storm. This no fair at all.